Welcome back to Ableton Gems, where we highlight some of the particularly useful devices and presets that Ableton has to offer. Today, we're not just looking at a single device, but a whole collection of devices called DS Drums. These drum synth devices allow you to easily and quickly synthesize your own unique drum samples. So let's jump in and take a look. So on the face of it, this drum rack looks just like many of the other hundreds of drum racks built into Ableton. But if we take a look inside each drum pad, we can see that they each have a unique, individual device inside them. And these are gold dust. There's even a mini sampler device, which is great if you just want to throw in a sample and mess around with the length or the tuning. Now, these individual devices, by default, aren't available in the Ableton browser. So, in order to use any of the individual DS devices, simply go through the DS drum rack and save the individual drums. Now you can call up any of the individual devices whenever you need them. To demonstrate why these DS drum devices are worthy of an Ableton Gems episode, I'm going to build a simple drum loop around the following project. So let's start with the drum rack. And an instance of DS kick. Lovely. I'll bring up the info view so we can follow along with the descriptions. So now I'm free to adjust whatever I like about the kick. Let's bring up the pitch and add a transient click to the start. Great. Now I like my kicks quite short, so I'm going to reduce the decay. Short and punchy. Great. And I'm just going to reduce the volume. So rather than endlessly searching through kick samples to find the right one, in just a few clicks, I've synthesized the exact kick drum sound I'm looking for. Next, let's add a clap. Now, what's really great about this clap device is each individual hit sounds slightly different, so it's great for adding movement and making things sound less static. It's really exaggerated if I turn up the sloppiness. Now I'm going to turn this down in this case. I'm going to reduce the tail in a nice snappy clap. Excellent. I'm going to reduce the tune. Get a nice lo-fi sound. And that's the clap done. Now let's add a hi-hat, probably my favorite of the DS devices. So let's find the DSHH device and place that onto our drum rack. And let's program in a nice hi-hat pattern. Maybe an extra one here and here. Perfect. So let's see what we have to play with on the hi-hat device. We can shape the tone, take off some of the highs. We can reduce the pitch too, to match the lo-fi vibes of the rest of the drums. And I can reduce the decay to make it nice, short and snappy. Perfect. I'm going to add an LFO just to give it some movement. Movement is super important for electronic music. Just give it a bit of a human feel, you know? This is something that Hyperbits talks a lot about in his blog and on his courses. I'll put a link to his blog post on that in the description. So let's go ahead and map the pitch. Okay, that's a bit extreme, so I'm going to reduce the rate. And I'm just going to bound the percentage. It's a nice subtle movement. Now let's add an auto pan just for an extra bit of movement. Now we only want to affect the hi-hat device. But what you sometimes find with these MIDI devices is that they don't let you add other devices onto the drum pads when you have them on their own. So to get around that, you can do a little hack, put them in a group, and now you're able to put other devices onto the same pad. Let's add some movement. Again, let's do the rate off the grid just to keep going with that human feel rather than putting it on the grid. Great. Now to add a final level of depth to the drums, I'm going to use the DS Clang device. So let's go ahead and place it onto our drum rack. So you can see the DS Clang device produces a tone. 2 tones in fact, and you can control the amount of each through these A and B parameters. The pitch control is particularly fun. You can get some real Sophie vibes going on. In this case, I'm going to use the DS Clang device more as a ride cymbal, so I'm going to reduce both tones and increase the noise. The filter too, so we can hear it a bit more. Now, there's an option to add some repeats after it, but I won't be using that here. So let's program that in. And we'll add some movement to that as well. This time we'll map it to the filter. And just bring that down in volume, just so it's not the main element. We want the hi-hats to win. So it just adds an extra dimension to the rhythm there. So let's finish this off with a drum bus. And bring down the volume. And there you have it. A solid drum beat with plenty of vibes, using DS drum devices. Click.